What's going on, guys? CZeroMedia here. In today's episode, I am going back to Pashko's Beznik engine design to finally rebuild the LS6 race car engine that will be dropped into the RX7 race car. We'll show you the engine disassembly process and the rebuild process in today's episode here at CZeroMedia. Alright guys, now I'm in the car headed to Beznik's shop, and while at it, let's talk a little bit about some updates in my life. So in the past months I was in France, Norway and Portugal, mostly for work, a little bit of vacation. I came back and flew straight to Jacksonville, Florida to cover the Amelia Island Concourse event. It was a sponsorship deal with Pennzoil. Rob was there, Parker from Vehicle Versions was there, and Strassman was also there, and I was able to meet these guys and collaborate and create a cool video. So if you haven't seen the video, check it out. I talked to Rob actually, who are drooling over the 787B, which obviously all of you know is the four-rotor race car that won Le Mans back in the days. And that iconic car, the actual race car version, was at the show. And I asked Rob what he thought about VAFD RX7s, and he told me that LS engine is the way to go because it's reliable and it's cheap. Rob himself told me, who is building a four-rotor RX7, that LS engines are more reliable, and his daily driver is actually a CTSV, which is LS engine. So there you go, guys. LS engines are more reliable, and even Rob knows about that. I am driving in my LS6 powered C506, which I think is one of the best bang for buck cars out there. A lot of you guys ask me, you know, CZeroMedia, I have 10 grand, I have 20 grand, I want to get a cool sports car, what should I get? And to be honest, if you like American cars, C506, C606, these are the cars you can't go wrong with. Reliability, the cost performance, the chassis is great, suspension system is amazing. These cars are one of my favorite modern day American sports cars. So I highly recommend a C5 or C606 when it comes to bang for buck, rear wheel drive car that you wanna build for time attack or road course use. I love Corvettes, the 06 C5, C6 Corvettes. I think it's one of the best cars you can buy used, but I'm just not a Corvette guy. Everybody has Corvettes, and it's not that unique to me, which is why I'm putting this engine in a FD RX7, which literally weighs about 500 pounds less or 400 pounds less than a C506. So that thing's gonna be insane. I'm very much looking forward to driving that thing around. But anyways, I'm almost at Beznik's, so I will see you at the shop. Alright guys, I am back at Beznik Engine Design. Pashko over there in the background doing his thing already. We're gonna get right into disassembly of the LS engine that's sitting right here. But my head has been ported and it is back in the shop already. Look at that pretty job. What do we got here? We got valves.
I got you a new set of valves. These old valves, do you remember where we were talking about the retainer? And the tip was sticking below the retainer height. Oh yeah. The old valves have been tipped so much you can almost actually physically see it, you know, compared to lock height. So why that was done, I don't know, but either way, we got you a new set of valves.
That was good, yeah. And then that's why I like to take my engine to the professionals, because they can pick up on small things like that and make sure the engine's built right.
Yeah, the springs are the same. Okay. And then retainers, I'll use these retainers. Okay. But like I said, just with the new valves, it'll stick up past the retainer, so we don't have to worry about the rocker hitting the retainer and knocking the retainer off. Right. So that's the concern that I have with that.
That's pretty ridiculous that it was the way it was.
Yeah, I'm not sure why, you know, why they were like that.
That's why I'm skeptical when it comes to buying somebody else's project car, unless it's like a shop car or somebody that I know who knows what they're doing. Obviously, it was the way this FDRX7 was built. It was, the guy definitely didn't know what he was doing. So I'm actually not surprised to see this. So the first thing Pashko did was actually take off the clutch, which is the LS7 clutch here. It is good up to like 500 or 600 wheel, should I say, maybe even more, 700 maybe?
We'll see.
No, I'm not gonna be making more than 500 wheel. So I'm gonna keep this, it looks good. So I'm gonna stick to that for now and get to the engine disassembly here.
So we're going to start by flipping it over, get the oil pan off. All right. And work our way from there.
Awesome.
So the oil pan's off, but we realized that it already has ARP rod bolts, which is interesting. So now we're just checking to see how messed up the rod bearings are by spinning the thing.
This right here is a torque wrench. But what I use it to check the resistance of the rotating assembly.
Oh wow, okay.
So the rotating force, so we can actually measure how much force it takes to rotate. Typically on LS's, for the short block after assembly, they range anywhere from 16 to 18 Newton meters of rotational force. Okay. This one's been ran. Technically it should be a little bit looser, a little easier to spin. Just judging by hand, it doesn't feel that way, so we're going to find out exactly how much it is. All right. And the way you do it, you set your gauge to 0. Right. And you want to make one complete revolution without stopping. Okay. So just a nice smooth sweep.
I see.
So we're right about there. And like that.
Oh, and it records maximum.
Yeah. So right now you're at just over 30 pounds.
Okay.
That's pretty tight. And that's even without the cam installed too, so.
Right, oh, so with the cam, it should be at 16.
Yeah, 16, 18.
Oh, wow.
Depending on it all depends on the ring pack, on the piston, the piston ring thicknesses, the piston design. Right. That all plays a factor, the variability, but that is a little bit too tight.
I see.
It can mean a lot of things, okay. I really don't know. We're gonna find out after disassembly, but yeah, it could mean a lot of things. The main bearings could be hurt, the rod bearings could be hurt. We'll see. Okay. So,
interesting tool there.
Yeah.
So we just took out the pistons, and it's just now the block with the crank. So how's the crank looking here?
The crank looks to be in good shape. The journals definitely look like they've been polished before. So that's a good sign. We'll pull out the main caps and then check out how the main bearings look. There's some areas where you could see like the shininess here on the edge of the bearing was a result of, like we were talking about in the previous videos, of not rehoning the connecting rod itself.
Alright, so the crankshaft is out and all the bearings are now exposed, but it looks pretty good, yeah?
Yeah, not too bad at all.
Okay.
Yeah. It's always important to pull the cam sensor that goes into the back of the block there on the top.
Oh, I see.
If we try to push the bearing out, there's a chance we can destroy that. So
yeah,
always make sure you do that.
Good tip.
Which is this guy right here.
Well, you guys can see this is what the oil pressure.
Yes.
The pressure since I didn't take it out, and when I was unloading it off the truck, it literally snapped in half. So make sure to pull the sensor. So noob mistake there.
All right, so these plugs I'm removing are for the oil galley. So there's one here. There's also one here that I removed. So we gotta make sure we get those out of the way so we can brush the whole system clean. Okay. Make sure that when the block is getting washed, it has the chance for the water to clean the oil galleys. So the next thing we're gonna check out too is this here, this white plug. That's an oil restrictor, and it was changed throughout the years of LS engines. And I can show you an example how they changed it basically. If it's an earlier 99 and previous, the O-ring is actually moved back further. And since this plug moves out a little bit under oil pressure, there's a chance that you can have a lot of oil like pressure blow by past that point.
Really? Wow.
Yep, so we'll pull that out and double check it as well.
Okay.
all the way back to where that oil plug is. So we got to pop this out. And I'm really glad we checked, because this is the early model. I don't have a new unit here, like a revised edition.
Okay.
But the revised edition has a thicker piece of plastic here at the back.
Okay.
So it actually forces the O-ring closer or more into the oil passage. Yeah. And provides a better seal. This has a slight chance, if it moves out a little bit, the O-ring loses tension, and then you get oil flowing past it. And you don't want that to happen, because then you lose oil pressure in the oil system. We'll scrape the deck surface just lightly with a razor to get all the gasket material off, and then this way we have a nice area to check for straightness.
I didn't even know Snap-on made an actual straight edge.
Straight edge?
Yeah. It's a little more official.
Alright, so now we got the main caps all torqued up. So it's important that obviously you torque all the main caps in the center, but even the outside ones. The outside main cap bolts will distort the housing board just a little bit. So it's important that everything gets torqued on properly. The bearings are installed, and now we can measure our crankshaft main drills. Make sure they're all consistent and no taper. And then set our dial bore gauge to size and run it through and check.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna measure 2 points. So.
2 points, okay.
Now, using a micrometer takes you have to develop a feel for it.
Yeah.
You'll notice if you start using a micrometer, you won't get consistent readings until you develop the feel for the movement of it. So this is a standard journal size. It hasn't been shaved, which is a good thing. All right, so basically what we do is we set the bore gauge to the exact dimension of the journal. Yeah. And then that gives us the ability to go through and check the actual housing board with the bearing in place. So I'm going to come around this way. So this way we just install the bore gauge, and then you just read the gauge, the clearance. Right there. This one side. That's 1.5.
Okay. Alright, so the crankshaft's checked out alright, the bearings, clearance, that's all good. So what I have to do now is remove everything. I'm gonna put it in the hot tank, clean it up, and reassemble the motor.
So what I grabbed is here, the bottom board, and then right here, and lift it up.
See you later. So while the motor is getting cleaned up in the hot tank here, we're gonna get the cam bearings ready.
These cam bearings sometimes have a sharp edge there. So what we want to do is cut that edge off using a bearing scraper. What that does is just makes it easier for the cam to be installed instead of having an edge where the cam can catch it and potentially damage the bearing. So to do that, you want to make sure when you do cut that edge off, you want to do it in one consistent motion. You don't want to stop and then start again. You want to do one consistent sweep. So it's easier to just hold the bearing like this, and then set the cutter, the scraper, right on that edge, and just roll the bearing all the way through.
Cool. Hot oven, fresh. Engine sauna. Free for the win. Alright guys, this assembly is complete. The bearings look good. Clearances all look good, which was kind of surprising to me actually.
Yes, it was.
The motor has been hot tanked and cleaned out. So in the next episode, we'll be putting in the cam bearings and all the bearings back together, pistons, crank, and full assembly again. This video I think had a lot of information, a lot of good technical information. So if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to leave that in the comment section below, or you can contact Beznik Engine Design directly for any kind of question you might have for your engine build. So thanks again for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next assembly video.
See you guys.
See you.
Just roll the bearing all the way through. Fuck that one up.
Fucked up, man.
I know.
I think we shared a lot of information. Fuck.